Let's go ahead and move to gas or pass, and then after we get through the gas or pass, we'll move on to the best of
Okay,
the year.
sounds good.
So,
All right, it's your gas or pass.
yeah. So I wanted to talk about this. We've talked about a lot of modelers. We've talked about how you've got your pod. Express is kind of your backup and practice tool you use. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using this IR2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use it for our live sounds. However, you're playing in a band right now where there's guys going direct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Technically, right now where I'm playing, it's all direct too, but I'm using an amp. Um, the standard bearer is the Line 6 Helix, and it's kind of the standard to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Line 6 Helix a gas or pass for you anymore? Yeah, there's so many options out there today in the market. However, it is the standard that everybody has to beat, and it's so user friendly. There's so many presets out there and available. It is very convenient to go direct, especially when everyone else is going direct. It might not be your all-in-one solution all the time, but especially after you've kind of been playing with this Pod Express and thinking about it and playing this band where so many people is going direct, is this something you would consider? Is this something that's a gas or pass? And we're talking new. I think right now they're on sale for the holidays and everything that's went on for like $13.50. They normally sell for about $1,500 new.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something that you would even consider? Is it a gas or pass? Or what's your thoughts on it?
Complete pass.
Wow. Okay.
Complete. So I really like the Pod Express. You're right. I think it's super convenient. You know, if I were to ever have to go to direct, that would be something awesome in my back pocket. I have no intention on making like a full-fledged this is my rig with the Pod Express, and I wouldn't want to do it with a Line 6 Helix. Reason being is not only is what I would have to tweak stuff all day, and to get levels right, to get sounds right, I think I would lose some hair. Like I would just be pulling my hair out just because it would be hard to mess around with. Honestly, if I was going with any direct sound, I'm going the Friedman route. Those IRXs, IRDs. Now they got the what's the guy?
Jakey Lee.
Jakey Lee one. That's too much high gain. I think I would just go with the IRD, like the Dirty Shirley.
Yeah.
Because you can literally tweak it on the fly right then and there. Now there's no effects. I use a pedal board anyways, so I don't need it. I just wouldn't want to mess with all the Line 6 Helix options and sending everything, through menus. Like it would be honestly, I would end up not caring about the music and I would be tweaking all the time, and that's the opposite of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I want to spend my time worrying about the music and playing. And honestly, when you think about playing gigs out and stuff like that, it's so much easier to have a regular stomp box there and maybe like that Friedman IRD. That would be so much easier to mess with than that Line 6 Helix. I have no interest in it at all.
Okay. Well, I kind of thought to bring this up because, we've talked personally about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've ever talked specifically Line 6 Helix on here. We've talked about a lot of things similar and kind of brought it up in conversation. But with all this stuff that you've been playing lately and the band you've been playing with and liking this Pod Express as much as you have,
Mm-hmm.
I thought honestly maybe your opinion had changed.
Right.
But it actually sounds like your opinion has strengthened.
I think so.
Is that fair?
The only thing that would, I guess, no, it has strengthened it. I also think about the foot pedal and the option of like not having that because I don't want to have something else that could break. Like that is my luck. I think about the Fender Tone Master and I'm like, hey, that's an option, but I also again don't want to dedicate my entire sound to that. So even thinking about that, I would still rather go the Friedman route.
Okay.
So yes, I think you're right. Having the Pod Express, it's such a great tool as a backup, but I think I know I always want it as a backup.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to, you know, go full-fledged into it. The only other option besides the Helix, I would go with HX Stomp maybe, just because it would be small, something throw in a bag, but again, not my everyday sound.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to use that for your full end sound every day. You would be just using that, like you said, as the backup, kind of like your Pod Expresses.
What it does now, yeah.
Do you think that this is kind of off subject with it, but do you think that there is much advantage to go into an HX Stomp from your Pod Express right now?
For what?
Because you're using it for backup and practice only, pretty
Yeah.
much.
For what I do, I'd rather have the Pod Express. It's got the headphones, and I don't know if the HX Stomp does or not. It might. Um, but there's less menus. I mean, the knobs are real simple to use. Everything's pretty much dialed in for you. Like, it's dummy proof for the most part.
Right.
And that HX Stomp is that's gonna be too much for me.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense. I'm in the same boat as you. I think as I've went and played more and more recently and had this IR2 as my backup and kind of played with it a little bit, plugging in straight with it, it's just confirmed further and further that having a live amp with me on stage,
there's no replacement.
I can't go any other route. Maybe I'm too old school. Maybe I'm fortunate in playing the right gigs where I can do it. And I understand that is part of it.
Right.
However, I do think in most situations you can make a live amp work. Some people don't have that opportunity, and I understand that. But for me, if there's any way I can get away with a live amp, I'm much happier with it. No matter what your monitoring's like, no matter what's going on. And then, yeah, I mean, the menu diving in the Helix, the HX Stomp, is kind of daunting to me.
It is.
And I love to sit there and tweak knobs and go through the whole menu diving route, and I love doing it. But my problem is when I do that, that's what I'm doing. And I get addicted to it. And
and then you're like, well, this could sound a little better here.
Yeah.
And then the room changes and you're like, just kidding. I should have left it.
Right. Yeah. And then, yeah, every room you go to is different. It's great to set it up. That's something I've noticed about the IR2. I set it up perfectly for my headphones and practicing with it. And then, like, all of a sudden I add my board to it and it doesn't work the same. And I got to adjust it. And then I plug it into the mains in a live setting.
You got to adjust it.
And I got to adjust it again. So I'm going to be doing that with the Helix all the time. I understand if you get used to the system, it's very easy to do. It's no different probably than getting used to an amp and having to adjust the amp for every venue. However, I'm very used to this tactile nature of having an amp and being able to turn a knob and be able to, work that way. And it's just the responsiveness back and forth. So for me, it is a pass. I thought maybe for you would consider it to be a gas, but you've went even harder the other way.
Yeah, I have no interest in this Helix.
Okay.